Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Friday, November 20th. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Indiana game is tomorrow, and the game against Michigan is in 22 days. We will probably talk a little bit about this weekend's games in a little bit, time permitting. But there's first some massive recruiting news that we need to start with today. Thursday night, Ohio State landed a commitment from five-star 2022 quarterback Quinn Ewers. He's from Texas. He's the number 2 overall player in the class of 2022. And Buckeye Scoop's Mark Giffler, who is not typically the hyperbolic type, called it, I'm going to read a direct quote here, as big of a commitment as a program can land. Seems good. I don't know. Is that good? Buckeye Scoop beat reporter Tony Gerdeman is here to help me figure out if that's good for Ohio State. Tony, what is Ohio State getting in quarterback Quinn Ewers?
Well, it's pretty interesting to me that he is already the consensus number 1 quarterback in the class when there is still so much more to see of him. But yeah, they're getting a guy who is, if you watch any of his highlights, he can. The thing that impressed me most is just the touch of the downfield stuff. And we've talked before about Ohio State's 1-inch drills where you just got to get the ball 1 inch over the defender. He's really excels at that. But you get a leader of the class, right now in terms of like the recruiting impact. Yeah, you always want to get Ryan Day always wants to get a quarterback in each class, and now you've got a guy that can just lead, begin his leadership process in terms of building the class, and then once he hits the field, then you become a leader from there. But yeah, you get the best quarterback in the country. I think that's usually a pretty good footing to get out on, and then you go from there. And he can run a little bit, not even a little bit. He can run well enough. He's one of those guys that, if he needed to, could throw for 4,000 yards in Texas high school and run for another 1,200 and just be the entire show, because he is that athletic and he's a tough kid and meets all of the requirements of what Ryan Day wants and what Corey Dennis wants. And it's pretty impressive to see what those two are doing in short order.
And this is not the first really highly touted quarterback that Ohio State has brought in. They got C.J. Stroud and Jack Miller in 2020. They've got Kyle McCord lined up for 2021, and now Ewers for 2022. And as soon as the Ewers news break, you saw some people going, "What is this going to mean for Kyle McCord? He's committed for 2021. Is he going to be scared off?" And the answer from all indications is nope. It doesn't mean anything. Kyle McCord is showing up in 2021. He's ready to go fight for that starting job. Like, he's not worried about the 2022 guy. He's going to try and beat out the 2020 guys and be the starter next year. And I mean, with as much turmoil as there's been in quarterback rooms across the country and within the Ohio State quarterback room as well in recent years, if Ohio State can keep, multiple of this caliber of player on campus together, I mean, that is an unbelievable advantage to have over most of the other programs in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think these recruits, watching what Joe Burrow did, where he spent 3 years at Ohio State and graduated and then went on and found a career elsewhere at LSU. Like, the desire to be coached by Ryan Day right now for quarterbacks and Corey Dennis is unlike, it's up there with Larry Johnson and defensive linemen. I think maybe it has surpassed it at this point because they're getting the top of the top guys. And so when you see that and the ability then for Day to just the way he can develop guys. And I was listening to Urban Meyer today on the Dan Dockett, yesterday on the Dan Dockett show, talking about watching Justin Fields highlights and just, seeing him at Georgia, thinking he was just some guy who could run and maybe throw a little bit. And then after you get him on campus and you see what Ryan Day can do with them, and he's the best at what he does. And when the whole process of developing, recruiting, coaching, the relationship building right now, I don't know who's doing it better, at what position it's being done better, how you could do it better, and what other superlatives you could use. Maybe we can ask Mark Giffler.
The always hyperbolic Mark Giffler. Yes. I mean, bringing in 5-star or, fringe 5-star, depending on the source you want to use, but quarterbacks in 3 straight classes, like that doesn't happen. And then you brought in a transfer 5-star quarterback the year before that. I mean, that just that literally just does not happen. So this Ryan Day thing might just work out for Ohio State. Maybe. Now I'm getting hyperbolic. Ewers is the sixth five-star prospect from the state of Texas to commit to the Buckeyes since 2017. Here's the list: Jeff Okudah, Baron Browning, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Donovan Jackson, the lineman for 2021, and now Ewers. So, and that list does not include J.K. Dobbins, who was a high 4-star. So, okay, that's six five-star prospects from Texas to commit to the Buckeyes since 2017. The Texas Longhorns, who are notably located in Texas, have only had 4 in that span. And this has been one of the things that you've seen from Ohio State over the years in recruiting. They find the spots where the local powers are down, or in coaching transition, and they just hammer those spots. I mean, Washington and Washington State both just went through coaching changes over the offseason. OSU currently trying to pull 5 stars, JT Tuimoloau and Emeka Egbuka out of there this cycle. Did it when Georgia was down, got Raekwon McMillan, Von Bell, got those guys out of there. Wyatt Davis, Chris Olave, Court Williams, they've pulled out of California recently with USC and UCLA struggling. And now, Tony, with Tom Herman on the ropes and Texas A&M still kind of trying to build things up, it looks like now they're doing it to Texas.
Yeah, and it worked the last time in 2017 with that class. And this is a place that does not dry up, even though, much of the state is actually literally dry. But the talent is just replenishes every year, and you can just keep going back to that well. And it may only be a couple of guys each year, but that's all you really need it to be. And then some years it'll be 4 or 5, like 2017. But if you keep that pipeline open, you never know when it's going to be Quinn Ewers or Garrett Wilson begets Jackson Smith-Njigba and on and on. And when you look at Quinn Ewers, like 24/7, the composite, they do their they have the all-time Ohio State commits. Quinn Ewers is number 2 all-time behind Terrell Pryor and in front of Ted Ginn Jr. to give you an idea of the level of the rankings. And yes, throw in the rankings caveat right now if you like. It does not guarantee future results, but it gives you a picture of what the people think of him. And if you can get every couple of years one of those guys from Texas, and then the other years, like, you settle for Garrett Wilson, oh darn, you only get the number 20 player in the nation instead of the number 2 player. I guess that's an okay consolation.
Well, and this is this building block thing where they're, I mean, you're talking about building players on players. They're kind of building classes on classes at this point. I mean, the 2020 Ohio State class was like one of the best in school history. The 2021 class is now on track to be better than that and potentially the best in the country, depending on how things shake out with a few individual guys. And now 2022, could that be better than 2021 is better than the best. 2022, could that be better than the best? I mean, there is already another top 10 overall player who Ewers is very close to, wide receiver Caleb Burton, who's another Texas kid. And if you have a really elite quarterback in the fold 15 months before signing day, who everybody wants to play with, I mean, that is a big, big step to giving you something pretty solid to build that class around. Yeah,
it'll be fun to watch as this whole thing comes together. Ohio State already has 3 of the top linebackers in the 2022 class committed. Now we'll probably see the offensive guys maybe begin. And I think some of this depends on how active Quinn Ewers will be in the recruiting circles. I would expect him to be very active in making calls, doing texts, especially because, things are shut down until at least April 15th in terms of any coaching visits or any player visits, unofficial visits. And so you rely on the players to do a lot of this, and to have your quarterback already committed. Clearly there's a long time to go before signing day, but now he can get to work for you and just lay that groundwork and just build. And then, as I posted on the Ask the Insiders board, are you now concerned that this is going to make landing a quarterback in 2023 pretty difficult?
That is like the ultimate rich person problems. Like, that's the I think I used this for Clemson at some point this year, but that is like the temperature in my wine fridge on my yacht is a little warm. Like, I mean, there are problems, and then there are problems, and that's 2023 Ryan Day's problem. Like, I think 2020 Ryan Day probably feeling pretty darn good right now. That class, that 2022 class, When you got Ewers, he's number 2 overall in the composite. Gabe Powers, linebacker from Marysville, he's a 5-star in the composite, number 33 overall. CJ Hicks is just a couple spots below that. He's like one of the highest ranked 4-stars in the composite. Rivals has him as like the number 4 overall player in the country.
He's going to go up.
Yeah, he's going to end up higher. Desan McCullough, number 48 in the nation in the composite. I mean, like they've only got 8 commits, and half of them are top 50 players in the country. I mean, that's just stupid. Like that's just dumb. So, but dumb in a good way for Ohio State fans. So that's not the bad kind of dumb. We've had plenty of that this year. This is the good kind of dumb for Ohio State fans. And Quinn Ewers will be here in 2022. There's football happening before 2022, however. In fact, it will happen tomorrow. And most of the major playoff contenders expected to cruise to big wins. Alabama, Clemson, Florida, all favored by 30 or more. Probably don't need to waste a lot of time talking about them. There are a few interesting games in the Big Ten, though. But let's start far, 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 far away from the college football playoff picture. Yes, friends. Let's talk some Michigan Rutgers. Tony, the Wolverines can't possibly lose to Rutgers, can they?
Tom, anytime you go into the birthplace of college football, anything can happen. And yes, Michigan can definitely lose at Rutgers, and that's not even on the scale of wild. This would just be a typical Saturday, go out and get groceries, or not anymore, you can't, but just to enjoy your weekend. And hey, yeah, Michigan lost to Rutgers. Yeah, is that a surprise? No, it's not a surprise. But it doesn't mean it won't be fun to watch and see what happens.
I mean, what are you expecting? I mean, honestly, like this is. I think we said this on Buckeye Weekly on like Tuesday this week. Like, if there was one game that I could like find out the result of this week, like this is the game. I am just absolutely fascinated to see what happens in this game, because it's just Michigan's talent is so much better. Like, unquestionably, you could ask Greg Schiano, and Greg Schiano will say, yes, Michigan has better talent, like top to bottom on the roster. But I mean, Michigan did not look like a team that was super, super interested in playing football for long stretches last Saturday. Now they have to go on the road. Rutgers is not very talented, but they have played their butts off this year. Like, I mean, they're not good, but they play real hard, and they want to be there. And they are, I mean, I don't know what you're going to see out of Greg Schiano tomorrow, but I think they're going to pull everything they've got out of that bag to try and pull this off. Because that then becomes this is the win you sell in recruiting for the next 2 years. Like, well, yeah, we're not there yet, but hey, we beat Michigan. And that's what they need right now. They need stuff like that. I mean, they beat Michigan State week 1. You beat Michigan now. It's like, oh, I think people look at that and it's like, oh, okay, there is something there. There's something going, there's something happening. So what's your pick this week? Do they do it?
Well, and they hung with Indiana for a while until they just couldn't do it anymore. And that, I don't know if it was you who said it earlier in the week, but if they would have saved all of these trick plays for Michigan instead of Ohio State, maybe they beat Michigan by 4 touchdowns. Who knows? But not that they would have to fake any punts or anything, because they would just go up and down the field and score. But like, I expect that Rutgers is going in planning to win this and clearly wanting to win this. Players thinking they can win this, and Michigan will feel like they're going to be on the defensive, but they almost have to be on the offensive to make sure that they don't have a slow start. But Michigan's offense isn't really good at being offensive, where it's like, let's go out and set the tone. Joe Milton went out and set the tone with 2 interceptions on his first 2 passes last week. And we don't even know who's starting for them this week. I don't know if that's come out, if it's going to be Milton or the redshirt freshman Cade McNamara. What do I expect? I would be shocked. No, not shocked. I would be very disappointed in Michigan if they lose, knowing full well that they could. And knowing each time we see them play, it's like, well, don't pick Michigan next week. No matter who they're playing, do not give them the benefit of the doubt. They have not earned any benefit of the doubt from anybody at any point this season, whereas Rutgers has. But is the benefit of the doubt gap greater than the talent gap? Or, I don't know what equates those two things. But man, if there was a crowd there and it was a night game, I might be crazy enough to go with Rutgers. Not that you have to be crazy. What do I expect? I don't think Michigan will be able to run. because they don't run the ball well. I think they have the talent at receiver, but Rutgers has some decent corners. So, Tom, what do I expect? I don't know, and that's why I can't wait to watch it. I guess
I know it's so intriguing. It's just like I could see literally anything happening. I could see Michigan coming out and just asserting themselves and winning by 3 touchdowns. I could see them just coming out and falling flat on their face, and Rutgers winning by Rutgers being up by 20 points at halftime. Like nothing would shock me. It's just I generally feel like I've at least got some idea, and sometimes I'm wrong, but I usually go into a game feeling like I think I know probably what's going to happen. Not a clue. Not a clue. I think we talked on the episode of Buckeye Weekly that dropped yesterday, all about the Ohio State Indiana game. You can get kind of an in-depth preview of that from us there. Just search Buckeye Weekly on all your podcast places and find that. We ended up having, seemingly as always, virtually identical score picks, so you have that to look forward to as well. But I mean, tomorrow that is one half of what feels like Big Ten semifinal Saturday tomorrow. I mean, Ohio State, Indiana in the East, they're clearly the team that wins that is in the driver's seat to get to Indianapolis. In the West, it's Wisconsin and Northwestern. And again, those are the top 2 teams in the West. Those are the 2 unbeaten teams fighting it out for the right to go to Indy as well. I think I feel pretty good about Wisconsin. I picked Michigan last week because I really didn't know what to expect with Wisconsin after that long layoff. I still think that game probably said more about Michigan than Wisconsin. I'm still not totally sold on Wisconsin, but I'm sold enough to pick them over Northwestern. What about you?
Yeah, that's where I'm going as well. And I keep picking against Northwestern incorrectly. Tom, Wisconsin leads the Big Ten in scoring defense at 9 points per game. Northwestern is number 2 at 14 points per game. Are we going to see like a 13-10 game? I can't imagine that, right? That's after maybe this would be like the bad side salad to the main course of the Michigan Rutgers game. I don't know, but if it's low scoring, then that doesn't do Ohio State any good in terms of like these 2 teams being impressive to help Ohio State. Not that Ohio State needs it, but I would like to see more than the 23 points they're averaging or giving up. I don't know that it's going to be pretty. Let's see Graham Mertz if he can get back to his game 1 form. I don't know if Northwestern will allow him to do that. But yeah, I like the fact that Wisconsin was able to run the ball last week after not being able to run the ball week 1, even though they're playing similar defenses in Illinois and Michigan. But yeah, I at this point, I'm just going to keep picking against Northwestern until I'm right. And maybe if Northwestern wins this, then the Big Ten championship game, I will pick Northwestern just to make sure people don't, burn my house down.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I think Wisconsin's good enough to do it. I think they found enough last week against Michigan that they can do it against Northwestern, and we will have Ohio State versus Wisconsin part 4 in the Big Ten championship game. I think seems like more than that, but I think it's only 4. So that'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. We will have much more on the Quinn Ewers. If you want a little more detail on the Quinn Ewers thing, Mark Givler, Bill Green are recording their Gives in the Bank podcast right now. That will be dropping probably by the time you're hearing this, that will probably be out as well. They will have a ton more information on their recruitment, all the ins and outs there. And if you are the type of person who is interested in the ins and outs of that type of recruitment and knowing what's going to happen before it happens, friends, let me tell you about a little website I like to call BuckeyeScoop.com. BuckeyeScoop.com members have known this was coming for quite a while, that our Nevada Buck has been all over that. There were a lot of rumors that, oh no, maybe he's waffling, maybe he's thinking about Oklahoma. Earlier this week, Nevada Buck just laid it all out there. Like, nope, he's coming to Ohio State. Chill out. Don't worry. There's nothing to it. Relax. If you're looking for a good way to lower your blood pressure, this may be just the way to do it. A membership at BuckeyeScoop.com. They will tell you when to worry, when not to worry. They see all, they know all, they do all. That is at BuckeyeScoop.com. Christmas is coming up. Would be a great, great gift to give or to receive. As I told Tony on Buckeye Weekly yesterday, if you have in-laws who are like always wondering what they should get you and you never know, that's the thing to tell them. Just get me a membership to BuckeyeScoop.com. Nice annual membership. It's a nice get a discount off the monthly rate. And then when it renews next year and they ask, what do you want for Christmas? You say, just give me that again. That was great. I have enjoyed all of the great insider analysis and the incredible team of insiders that they have on the Ask the Insiders board. I would like another year of that, please. So that is all at BuckeyeScoop.com. Thank you guys for listening. Enjoy the football this weekend. Enjoy the Rutgers this weekend. We will talk to you Monday.